Welcome to my home, Sheffield Manor Lodge, the year 1568, and I have just married George Talbot, the 6th Earl of Shrewsbury. His position, power and title made him irresistible. I thought him a good, kind, courteous man.
My dearest Bess, it is now certain that the Scots Queen comes to Tutbury to my charge. We are to accommodate Mary and her retinue in defence of and for the safety of the realm. Queen Elizabeth does so trust and esteem us. There can be no higher honour in the land. Make haste, therefore, to prepare apartments for our royal guest.
I don't grumble, but I think I've cause for complaint. My workload has increased tenfold since the arrival of our guest. Well, I say guest, but she is an unwelcome one as far as we are concerned. She comes with a host of her own household, and they all need feeding. Not a one of them has the courtesy to speak English. They strut about as if they owned the place. I'd teach them some manners if I had the chance.
I must be vigilant against all enemies of the realm. England is riven by such conflict and contention between Protestants and Catholics. Queen Elizabeth, to be sure, has cooled the hottest heads, but Catholic acolytes see Mary as a beacon, lighting their way to a renewed power for their faith. The nation is a hotbed of Spanish spies and popish plots. They are forever dreaming up schemes to engineer her escape. My head aches with imagination of the consequences should they ever succeed.
Since my arrival here in Sheffield, my confinement has been severe. For daily exercise, I have to give 1 hour's notice to leave my apartments, and then I can only walk on the leads or down the central aisle of the banqueting chamber. For outdoor exercise, I can only walk round the courtyard escorted by the Earl or the Countess of Shrewsbury. Remember, as Queen of France and Scotland, I would ride out every single day and pursue my favourite sports of hunting and hawking. I am one of the first women to play the sport of golf, which you will not have heard of. I love archery, real tennis and billiards. Most of these are lost to me now.
I'm on my way to dress my lady's hair. 'Tis said that I'm one of the most skilled in the household at dressing hair. My lady will suffer no one else. But how I long for happier times, when I serve my lady in France or Scotland. We sit and take in views of the deer park, which is pleasant enough after the confinement of the castle, but the time passes so slowly.
I find the next year's very perilous. Queen Mary almost dies of a fever. My own dear Queen Elizabeth has had smallpox. George suffers with gout and has also had a slight stroke. I remove all my great tapestries to Chatsworth and Hardwick when the Earl and I separate.
Well, our job is to clean out the toilets. I have to move a big stone out the way so our Tommy can get in. Oh, and once he's in, he gets his little spade and he starts digging away. Oh, and it comes right up to his middle sometimes, but it don't bother him. It should mind, because there's all sorts that comes out of it. Hay and lime, that's been used to soak up the beer and whatnots, and oh my lord, the smell. But I am told the smell is special, you know, because it's from noblemen. Well, in the toilet, there's 2 wooden planks on 2 different levels. Oh, and they've got holes in them. It's a long drop way above that old Tommy's cleaning out. They all sit in there together and do their business. But I don't think we'll see any noblemen today. They can't stand the stench.
The expense for the Earl of employing so many guards here at the lodge is enormous. Queen Mary has to be watched day and night, and they're always on the lookout for opportunities. All sorts of comings and goings, smuggling letters, sending coded messages. I teach Mary's servants the fear of the true God. However, I ensure that the 2 households are kept strictly apart, as I am ordered to do.
Let me tell you about the guards. There were 40 to start with. And then, after my beloved Duke of Norfolk was executed in 1572, the Earl paid for 40 more out of his own pocket. They annoy me intensely. They are everywhere. I do not go to bed till 1 in the morning, and at 5 in the morning every day they wake me up by changing the guards over. This they do by banging drums right outside my bedroom door. I think this is deliberate.
My queen constantly suffers indignities. Yesterday, porters of the house inspected her linen before it could be taken out to be washed. When I objected, we were told this was to prevent letters being smuggled out of the castle. How can a queen treat her own cousin such?
If only I had anticipated the expenses I would incur for the maintenance of Mary and her suite of attendants. I have here writ yet again to my Lord Cecil, pleading for prompt payment of my allowance from Her Majesty. Ah! This gout is another goad to me. I shall be driven into my dotage by Mary and her profligacy.
Smell that. That's the fine smell of brewing, that is. This new method of making beer with hops, it keeps the brew good and strong and fresh. Oh, being apprenticed to the brewer up here at the lodge, it's a dream come true for me. You'll never be out of work if you're a brewer, my mother used to say. And after all, it's not safe to drink the water, is it? Mind you, the Scots Queen and her household, they don't hold with it. They drink sack, some sweet wine with herbs and spices. It's not for the likes of us ordinary folks. It comes from France or Spain, costs an absolute fortune, but I suppose it doesn't matter to them, does it?
My lady's health has been nearly destroyed languishing here in Sheffield all these years. The dismal days in the damps and draughts of Wingfield have afflicted her with an excruciating rheumatism. So desperate was she that she sent to Paris for a piece of unicorn horn. Absolute nonsense, of course. We physicians know that it is merely powdered rhinoceros horn. She now suffers from a terrible fever which can recur at any time. The pain in her side grieves her greatly. I have implored the Earl that she be granted leave to go to Buxton again so that she may bathe in the soothing waters. It would do the Earl a great deal of good too. The strain of keeping the Queen incarcerated all this time has taken its toll on his health.
Queen Mary is my prisoner, but I too am incarcerated. I can never leave her unwatched to journey to my other estates. My wife, I rarely see. Bess is forever gallivanting off to Chatsworth, squandering my money on buildings and furnishings and gardens. I am schooled to my duty, but I yearn for an end to this endless charge. I have written yet again to Her Majesty, begging for the true and agreed allowance to be paid to me. The true cost exceeds this £2,000 at least sixfold. And what's this? Are 2 large barrels of sack insufficient for their needs? Do they wash their feet in it?
My husband has managed his affairs badly and is lavishing affection on his housekeeper, Eleanor Britton. She plays him for a fool. There can never have been a husband more forgetful of his obligations to his wife.